All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Madship by Robin Hobb live show. My name's Megan. I have the channel Megan's Reading Revelations. I'm sure everybody knows me. My phone totally just went off. So we have our lovely folks here from our last live show. We have Andrew, Stephanie's Book Burst, Miss Richards Reads, and then joining us also is Nico, who couldn't be with us last time. So Nico, if you want to introduce yourself and your channel and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Certainly. Yeah, I was really sad I couldn't make it last time, so I was glad I could make it here for Madship. But I'm Nico. My channel is Nico's Book Reviews. Mostly read fantasy and have been loving all of the Robin Hobb that I've read this year. So it's been great. And Robin Hobb became one of my favorite authors like halfway through Royal Assassin and has maintained quality thus far. So definitely have plenty I can talk about here with Madship. So I was glad I made it this time.
Awesome. Okay, so anyone wants to start off with their overall feelings about this book, maybe compared to Ship of Magic, or just kind of general thoughts? Anyone want to take the
I thought it was a huge improvement.
Okay, why?
I felt like, we got the establishing stuff in Ship of Magic out of the way. All the logical problems that I had, it's already been done, over with, and we're moving forward with the story. A lot of the character work started working really well for me. Certain characters jockeyed for more favorite position. Windrow came down in my list, and Malta went up in my list, and Brashan and all of them kind of just all over the place. Paragon is still one of my favorites. So yeah, I really enjoyed the character work. I liked finding out more about the serpents, and just in general, the Rainwild traders as well.
Yeah, definitely a big expansion of the universe. We learned so much more. I completely agree. So you liked it better than Ship of Magic? Yeah. I did too.
Yeah.
Not that Ship of Magic was bad.
Right.
It wasn't Madship or Royal Assassin or Assassin's Quest.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was happy to spend less time with the Downton Abbey Bingtown Trader scenes. So that was something I liked. But yeah, it also fixed my biggest issue with Assassin's Quest. So that was really interesting as well.
Explain.
Okay.
And I've read Assassin's Quest, so no.
I didn't know if I should jump that far into spoil. You did finish, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's so with Assassin's Quest, the weirdest thing for me was that the answer was that these statues were the elderlings and were dragons, and I'm like, that just always felt off to me. And I'm like, okay, it was a fantastic book, I'll let it go. But then the comments when the dragon from within the Wizardwood log is talking and be like, if elderlings were still around, they'd be very offended that you called those statues elderlings, and then kind of explained that similar to what the magic users would do, it's just people would they'd carve and they'd that's when they were ready to die and move on, and so they never really were the elderlings. And I liked that explanation a lot more than it's just they were always just statues.
Yeah, the whole way that it tied into the Farseer trilogy, I was like, that's awesome. I loved it. So I definitely see people have said that there's spoilers for the Farseer trilogy in Liveship. I feel like if you weren't looking for it, you wouldn't realize it.
Yeah.
Until you went back to read Farseer, but having read Farseer, I'm like, yeah, definitely.
I loved how they're just like, oh yeah, there might be a city further up the river, and they're like, no, there's no city up there. There totally is.
I mean, with those barbarians who get married in front of rocks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like this book. I liked it a lot more than Ship of Magic, only because I felt like the world was just expanded on. It was I don't want to say less political, but in the first book I thought that we were just getting established. There was a lot of exposition and backstory, and here it's actually the story is finally getting going, and just so much happens. I don't think this book is probably one of the only middle books that didn't suffer from second book syndrome, where kind of just drags. So yeah. This is my personal opinion.
I feel like Robin Hobb does that though. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just feel like in general, Robin Hobb's second books tend to be really good. I feel like her first books are a little slower. They take a lot of setup and stuff, and they tend to get going really well in the second one. It seems like to me. I mean, only 2 series in, but yeah, she seems to not have middle book syndrome.
Yeah, that's actually true because I liked Royal Assassin way more than I did the first book. Whatever it is.
For sure.
Assassin's Apprentice.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. I definitely like this one better, and I like that we got to get to know the characters a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And I also kind of like Malta a little more in this one because she got on my nerves really bad in the last one.
Yeah.
But why? She was a delight,
Oh man.
and you know it.
She was my favorite character.
I can't say that I like Malta, but I didn't hate Malta anymore at the end of book 2, and that shocked me because I knew it was wrong to hate a 12-year-old girl, but I hated Malta so much in the first book.
Well, now she's 13, and it's okay.
Yeah, you can hate a 13-year-old.
She's a woman now, apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
She got taken to a dance. She's a woman.
what did you guys think about the new POVs that we got in this book? So we got Cirilla, we got Rain. So
When's Cirilla again?
She's the satrap's companion.
Oh, okay, yeah. She only appeared 3 times.
Yeah, it's not a big
And
one.
I was horrified for her, but I think she's gonna have a bigger role in the next book. And so she didn't really have, other than making me hate the satrap, she didn't really do anything for me.
Hobb definitely has a thing for young, arrogant nobles who just don't understand that there are consequences to their actions and that other people exist, apparently. So between Regal and the satrap.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Rain, I loved Rain.
I quite liked him too.
Fascinating.
I didn't know that he was going to have such a big part.
Well, I like the fact that the Rain Wild traders are, in the first book, they're portrayed as these mysterious and wise. No, they're just a bunch of ignorant, grave robbers, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, hey,
because they're not dead.
Oh yeah,
You know?
fine. They're looting this. They're looting a dead city.
That whole realization in the last 10% of the book was it was a lot. It was a lot to take in. Yeah.
Well, he was just like, the dragon's alive, and they're like, no, it's not alive. And then he's just like, yeah, it is. And then you realize they kill people, their own people, for even daring to commune with this dragon too often.
I just the whole thing with Wizard Blood and that explanation where it's because I commented it in my review where in the first book you have Kyle who doesn't really understand anything and understand the nature of live ships, and so we're given all this information that we feel like he should know, and it's explained all to us what live ships are. And then book 2 is like, no, all of that was a lie. The Rain Wilds traders completely made that up, and it's completely different, and that was nuts. I loved the reveal of just all of that and the wizard word and the live ships and the true nature. That was so interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that I'm going back to Cirilla? Do you think that she's gonna kind of do something to the satrap because of what he did to her on the ship and kind of get revenge to him?
I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah.
I'm gonna let Ms. Richards-Reeds talk because I feel like I'm talking too much.
No, I hope so. And I feel like she will, since they put that scene in there.
Mm-hmm.
Which was horrifying, but I hope she gets her revenge.
I do too. Something. Just because, first off, I know that Robin Hobb can write characters that I hate, but holy cow, she just takes it to another level. I mean, we understood that the satrap was a horrible character, but just seeing the stuff that he did and just the way that he thought, just, oh my gosh, it made my blood boil. So, and I can see her as being calculating and using her intelligence to kind of, I don't want to say overthrow, but get her revenge. So I do hope that happens.
See, I don't think he's leaving the Rain Wilds.
You don't?
No, I don't think he's going to make it out. But I also think that it is entirely possible that in her bid for power, she's going to be the book's next villain.
I could see that.
It'd be interesting backstory to build a villain, but it's like you couldn't blame her at that point. I mean,
Well, yeah. And to be fair, like my favorite villain style of villain is the villain who is villainous, but they're doing it for what is actually what they consider the greater good, and they may actually be justified in it. Those are my favorite villains, even though they're usually terrible people.
Well,
Like
it's like
Doctor Doom is an awful person in the Marvel comics, but he actually believes he's the hero.
kind of like they have a goal in mind that is good, but they're willing to sacrifice. Like it doesn't matter what means it takes to reach the end, even if it's like evil things you have to do for the greater good. Yeah, I completely agree. That is the best type of villain because you can't really fault them for that because they have good intentions in mind, but it's like they got tunnel vision. So I agree with you on that. So we got a lot more of Paragon in this book than the last book. How'd you guys feel about that?
I think it's so interesting. I love the revelation that Paragon is made from two different logs, right? And so, I mean, how could you not be a little bit insane when you have these memories from these two different people inside of you? And yeah, I think that explains so much about Paragon and how he behaves and how he's not able to really like mature the way the other ones do and like take on his own personality as well as the others. And he has so many issues with things just because of that, like,
and then the traitors never even fessed up to it.
No, they just kept their mouths shut and they're like, yeah, he's insane and killed a ton of people because we made him out of two different logs. Like, that's our bad.
See, I don't think he killed anybody.
I bet we're going to learn the truth of that.
Yeah.
I don't think he killed anybody because we keep getting messages of if he just drowned them, why would there be all these blood stains or all of these like weapon damage and things of that nature?
The way that the mad ship or the live ships kind of like absorb violence, you know, they're always talking about when there's bloodshed on Vivacia, like she feels it and it affects her. I feel like if there was a massacre on Paragon, that could have led also to the way that he is, in addition to the two different themes or whatever. So, but I quite enjoyed his part. I loved the whole them getting him ready to sail, and I just loved his interaction with the characters because I feel like he acts like he looks like a man, but he acts like a child, like a smooth child. I thought it was hilarious.
I do have to say. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah.
Oh, okay.
At a very
I thought that was
inopportune
going in
moment.
somewhere, but I was just, I really did. I loved reading the Paragon parts, and that's why I overlooked, because my biggest problem with Mad Ship was the core concept that they considered no other options besides taking Paragon out. Like, could we buy another boat? Like, would that be, no, we're gonna fix up the insane live ship and go from there. And I'm like, that was really the only option, but the parts were so good. I'm just like, nah, okay, it's fine.
Did the traders know about the wizard word, or was it just the Rain Wild that had the secret? I don't think the traders knew how.
No, they don't know.
No, I don't think so either.
Which kind of made me lose the Rain Wild people lose credibility because they're definitely not being forthcoming with everything. So.
Well, yeah, they do this air of mysterious and you owe us all this money and gold or blood, the debt must be paid and all this, and then they're just like digging in the Lost City, just like, what can we sell? That's really all they were.
Definitely more to them than I originally thought in book one, which is another reason I like this book. Definitely much more expansion on the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. So, do you guys think that Paragon is gonna follow through with this whole helping capture Vivacia, or do you think he's gonna go crazy and?
I think so. They already started working on getting the cross, or the star that was carved into him removed. So I think he's gonna get his eyes back. I think they're gonna rework his face, and because of who the woodworker is, I'm just interested to figure out who gets carved.
Yeah, I feel like knowing that it's Robin Hobb, even if he does succeed, something terrible is going to happen before he
Yeah.
succeeds.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Did anybody catch the "I've been called fool" before?
I
Yes,
Mhm.
I did catch that.
I was right.
I just caught
That was cool.
similarities. I was looking for it though, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Andrew was right.
Well, and Malta now has a glowing spot on the back of her neck.
hmm
She has a spot back there, but is it like what the
It's
Rainbow people get, or
no,
what
it's
is it?
from the fool when the fool grabbed her when she fainted, and she started being
did
torn.
he touch her with his bare
He
hand?
touched her right here.
No, I don't even remember that.
It doesn't. It's not as sheen as because it's been years and things like that. But there is a small spot right here at the base of her neck that severed her from the dragon.
Oh wow, you caught that. I didn't catch that.
I thought it might have been something like the magic related to like how the rain wilds changed and stuff, but no, I like that better.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, is there a time difference between this one and Farseer, or
Like a
are they
couple
kind of
years.
concurrent?
I thought it was a couple of years.
Couple years. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So let's talk character development because I feel like almost all of our characters had development. Every single one.
Sorry, I'm dancing. I'm happy.
Okay, so let's start with Althea. So how do we feel about Althea coming back home and kind of like reestablishing the relationship with her family and it becoming a traitor? Her relationship with Greg. Who wants to start?
I love Althea. And I love that she, like, on the boat, she just took control when she was attacked because she knew that she couldn't show any fear. And I just love that she's trying to take control of her life back without any help, or trying to without any help.
And I also can appreciate how she knows that there's societal expectations, and at this point, she just doesn't care anymore. Like, that's just not who she is as a person. So she wants her ship back. She wants to be a sailor, or not just a sailor. You know what I mean? Like Captain of Innovation. She'll do what she can.
Well, what I found interesting about I was impressed with Andrew when he figured out who the fool was last talk. Yay! Thank you.
I didn't figure it out, but I just finished the last book in the Farseer, so.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Oh, with Althea. So what bugged me was she took responsibility for what happened in book 1 between her and Brash. And then immediately upon seeing him again, chose to lash out for what I felt was really no reason. She was lashing out at him, and I never really understood why. And because if I've already had that internal resolution, then just move past it. She was already being courted by what's his name? The other. What was the name?
Greg.
Yeah, Greg. Sorry, it's such an awful name that I can't remember it. It's a horrible name.
It's like Greg.
Well, but just say Greg at that point. Like, I'm okay with weird
say
names.
Greg.
Don't say Greg. Just
When
call him
I think
Greg.
Greg, I think of some like orc.
Greg.
My name's Greg. Not some like handsome, just suave traitor.
Greg
No.
at your service.
Yeah, I'm Greg.
All of the names are normal. Veronica, why don't you just say Veronica? Malta.
Veronica doesn't bug me as much because it's not Erg.
If you go different enough to make it just a fantasy name, then fine. But
This is
I don't
not
know.
like 15 letters long.
And it was funny because with Greg, I think I was messaging Nico about this. I was just like, man, I need to hate this guy. I need something to happen to make me hate him. Because I was kind of pulling for him a little bit. Right up until he started just being like, no, I'm the man, you're the woman. And I was just like, you blew it.
Yeah, but he was doing what was normal and considered like cordial and courteous in his society. Like he was doing exactly what he was supposed to and what was expected of him. So I don't think it was terrible. It didn't fit Althea and what her, goals in life were. But I mean, any other chick, jump on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's there's a lot of looks into kind of the way Bingtown society operates and the things that they believe to be true, and that thing they kind of think everything should be a certain way and be in its place. And this book turned a lot of that upside down because we found out things about the rain wilds that Bingtown traders didn't understand. They had all of the different just problems with the satrap and just things not going how they think all fits in their perfect little box. And I think that was kind of part of it too, with Althea coming back and then kind of trying to kind of fit in the box where she thinks she belongs with, like, a reasonable suitor Greg, and still finding herself not wanting that life.
Yeah. I think she came back mostly for her family, not so much for herself.
I think she came back for her ship mostly, honestly. I feel like that was her main motivation, is to like prove, like, look, I can sail a ship now. You said that if I could, then I could have Vivacia. And speaking of which, I didn't love
his
Vivacia.
family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
before we talk about Vivacia, it was funny because she was using that whole motivation to go in front of the Traders Council to try and enforce it. She's not even allowed to speak to the Traders Council. So what was she hoping to accomplish there? Because she's not the house trader. So they wouldn't even listen to you in the first place. And B, they're a bunch of squabbling children.
Yeah, that scene it was a little bit awkward to me. It just seemed kind of like a waste. I don't know. Maybe Hobb was trying to reiterate how no one was going to help her and they had to take the situation in their own hands. But yeah, I see.
That's what I thought.
But Stephanie was saying she didn't like Vivacia.
I feel like I did. I don't dislike Vivacia. I just like her a lot less now
I agree.
than I did before. Like, I thought I was going to absolutely love her. She was going to be my favorite character. It was going to be like her and Paragon, and they were awesome. But I feel like in this book, I didn't really like where her character arc went, and I didn't really like what was done with her personality and her choices and those things.
Yeah, I
So
hated
interesting
that she
to
kept
read, though.
flirting with Kenneth. Like,
Yeah, it was very uncomfortable. I'm like, you're actually made out of like a cocoon. Like, it's literally like a cocoon, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's weird.
Yeah.
and he's an awful person. At least pick a nice person to flirt with.
He's a horrible human being.
Kenneth is awful, but man, I loved reading Kenneth, and the interactions and just the terrible manipulations between Vivacia and Wintro, and just all of the different things he's trying to do with them and like organize to happen, and with Etta too. And it's just like
He was,
it was
a little
crazy.
less horrible this book.
Kind of, but I think that's only from other people's point of view. He seemed really nice, and then they show like, oh no, it's all a long con.
Yeah, he's trying to get this little like 14-year-old boy to sleep with his girl so she can get pregnant. He can kill the kid. Like, I find that quite horrible.
I thought it was genius, but
Yes. Oh.
I feel like
gross, but it was genius.
I read that scene and I was like, what?
I don't understand how he expected it to work though.
Right.
Andrew,
Like,
this is the wrong stream to have that conversation.
that's not what I meant. That's not what she was obviously besotted with him. And there was no way, like, how did you not know that she was completely your woman? And the thought never entered her mind. It entered his because he's a 14-year-old boy. But
Because
like, she has a mate.
Like, she only sees him. Like, she's in love with him.
It did make for one of the funniest scenes, though.
The knife fighting?
Where
Oh
where she visits him in his chamber and is just like talking all weird and talking about what the activity they're going to do, and then like knife fight.
I was laughing.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, then the Kenneth scene after that was even funnier.
Oh man.
Where like she kind of slowly sneaks back into the room. Where you been? Knife fighting? What? What?
I feel like I have to like Kenneth a little bit because of what he did to Kyle, which like Hobb doesn't usually give the reader exactly what you want, and I'm like, that made me so happy. That's like, that was perfect.
Pretty much locked him in a basement, right?
Yeah.
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 Did anybody else
Right where I
feel
wanted
that
him.
that priest of Saw was a complete waste of pages?
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
did seem odd. I kept expecting something more from that. That one did seem a little strange.
Yeah, he could have totally been just this side character who started the revolution, but there was no need to really build him up. I think she was building him up, realized there was nowhere to go with it, and so she just killed him off.
I mean, I felt like in book 1 he was kind of a weak character. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of liked how that happened because I feel like sometimes in these books, these characters do show up and you're like, you need to kill this guy before he becomes a real problem for you. And they never do. And then Kennett's like, you know what? You've become a problem for me. So I'm just going to kill you. And I'm like, actually respect. That is the best move.
I can see that point as well.
That is, yeah, that's a good way of
That
looking
does
at it.
make sense.
I guess it's just another way to show that Kennett is not a good person. Also.
Yeah, it's like
But a very smart one.
that was smart. Like all the time in books, you see these characters like Regal. You're like, dude, you got to kill that guy. He's going to cause you problems. You got to kill him, and they don't. And
That's true.
Nothing makes you
Yeah,
hate
but Regal was
characters like Hobb.
family, and his king told him not to because it was his son. And
I get why he didn't, but he still should have, in my opinion.
Mhm. So, you know who I was not expecting to die was Davard.
Yes.
oh yeah,
I didn't see that coming either.
out of nowhere.
I know, just all of a sudden.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe he was just another character that she didn't have anything to do with. Maybe he played his part, but like
I
feel
wasn't
like-
super sad.
No, but it just kind of came out of nowhere, and it's just like everybody else survived but him. I don't know. It's almost kind of like she changed her mind.
Well, he was on the outside of the carriage and they were on the inside. So I think it would make sense for him to die in the attack versus them when they had some protection.
Yeah, he was up top, right? If I remember. Yeah.
Did the ball bother anybody else?
The ball?
Yeah, like where literally Malta and Rain just kind of don't click all of a sudden, and they start acting like super jealous and super kind of like he's literally all he had to do was say, "Hey, I was forbidden, but I've done all these things for you," while they were dancing, literally in each other's arms.
So yeah, it was just the whole like miscommunication thing where the whole problem could have been avoided if they just talked to each other. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's something that I'm not a fan of. Like, but
I don't know. It seemed really weird. I did love Malta's growth through this book, though. And I did say that in last stream. I thought that she was starting out like a really big brat.
yeah,
And then she was going to slowly evolve.
she definitely matured. I mean, she's still got like that teenage girl thing about her, but I think she's definitely growing up. So
I love that she quit saying it'll be solved when my dad gets home. Like, just own your problems. And she finally stepped up a little.
Yeah, she did.
One thing I think I was talking again to Nico, because what else do I do with my day? Whenever significant character development happens in this book, we are never in that person's head. Like when Wintro switches and becomes devoted to Kennett, we are not in his head. When Malta decides to grow up, we are viewing that from the outside. We never actually see that for significant change. Like I mentioned, Althea accepts the Brashan interaction from book 1, but that wasn't significant because then she just immediately reverted. Did anybody else notice that, or am I just being nuts?
Well,
It was interesting for sure.
Now that you say it, I can see it, but I didn't catch it while I was reading it.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, because there were some. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying maybe Hobb was just wanting us to interpret it a certain way based on the clues she gave us.
Oh, I liked it.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really, really interesting because I noticed it a few times.
Well, like it was interesting seeing Malta through like Althea or Ronica or Kefria's POVs, and then seeing Althea through her family's POVs, or like Malta seeing her, because it's the characters see them in a really different way. So you definitely had some of that, and then it was used to fake you out for the Kenneth one, where everybody's like, "Oh, Kenneth's so nice and caring," and then no. But it was a really interesting way to show some of the moments, and I really enjoyed that as a narrative device.
So what did you think about Malta's interaction with the serpent dragon?
I
loved everything about the ending.
The end.
Dreams
and serpent dragon.
Sorry, I don't know a serpent dragon. Sorry.
I
was just like serpent. Wintrow's the one who interacted with the serpent.
I was thinking the other person. I thought it was cool.
I was not expecting it. Like Malta.
She just stepped up and owned that dragon. She's like, "No, swear on your name."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "You ain't gonna tell me nothing. Then you're gonna die here. Bye."
I'm kind of curious because Wintrow and Malta are brother sister, and both of them had interactions with these like ancient dragons. So I'm wondering if there's like some sort of connection to like the Vestrit family and maybe some sort of ancient dragons. Just because I thought it was kind of ironic that both of them would be in that situation. I don't know. Did anyone feel that?
I don't know. That didn't click in my head. I'm curious to see if you're correct, though. I would love for that to be correct.
It might be that there's something in the family. Yeah, because remember the fool was saying that she thought Althea might be the one who was special, but then it ended up being Malta. And so maybe it's just something they have in their family.
Didn't Amber say something? It was either to Kefria or Ronica about how she needed to look after Malta or look over Malta.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she did. Yeah, she knows.
That might have been just her hedging her bets. Maybe. I don't know. No,
she did seem to kind of notice that because that was after Malta fainted when Paragon was going off, and she kind of seemed to realize, and that was when she touched her too, and so like understood her, and kind of realized what was going on. So.
I think there's something going on there personally.
Yeah, sorry. I'm ruffling through 900 pages in my memory.
I don't know. I read it a while ago too. I think it's been about a month.
Do any of you keep notes when you read?
No. I'm terrible at keeping notes, which is why I'm always terrified to do a book review after the fact.
Yeah.
I don't annotate or anything. I don't think I've ever have. So I was just curious. It's all in here, which is probably why it's wrong.
Usually, if I have a specific thought that I know I want to include in a book review, I'll write it down.
Okay.
I usually try to do my review shortly after filming because I used to fully script and write out my review and still forget things. But yeah, I usually just go off the cuff for reviews, and I'll definitely forget things. But I talked for like 20 minutes about Mad Ship. I'm like, you guys didn't need spoilers at that point. Go to the live show for the spoilers. I don't need to talk anymore.
I've been told my review style is a single stream of consciousness.
So I watched your review earlier today. I did. Andrew, I haven't watched yours yet. Sorry.
I haven't dropped it.
Okay, good. So
what's that little bell with the line through it on the little?
Dude, I don't know. I get notifications, but like when I go to turn on the no, I swear to God, when I go to turn on the notifications, it says error. I'm gonna send you a screenshot.
Is your channel set to made for kids?
Yeah, if you're set to made for kids, it doesn't work because I had that problem with Alan's channel.
Yeah. You may have to change your settings.
We'll chat, but yeah. I'm gonna send you a screenshot.
I'm just causing drama.
You are. Book me drama. We don't tolerate that here.
No, okay. Sorry. My
apologies.
apologies.
I have the tea.
All right. Yeah.
No, the tea is right here.
So what did you guys think about like the kind of, I know we kind of talked about Wintrow and Etta and Kenneth, but like for me personally, they kind of seemed like they had this little, other than the whole like I'm trying to get them to sleep together, like this whole little family unit going on. Did you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that happened when God, I messed up my hair. Okay, whatever, just go for it. When Vivacia took Kenneth into herself, and then Wintrow went in to piece him back together like a stained glass window, and they kind of intermingled a little bit, which is I think why Vivacia is accepting of Kenneth, because somehow a little piece of him got into her.
That does remind me. My original theory that Kenneth was secretly gay, but didn't want to make that known to the pirates. The things that made me think that did end up being super relevant, so that's why I just wanted to point that out. Because in the first book, when he's first with Edda, he just made a couple of comments. For one, we were told that Edda is not like traditionally pretty, that she was kind of more boyish and thin, and mentioned like that. And then he specifically had a comment like when he's like, let nobody say that Captain Kenneth can't tell the difference between a boy and a woman or something. And something like those comments just seemed out of place if they weren't significant. And so learning about his whole trauma and the things done to him, and even his charm was like, oh, you're going to do the same thing to Wintro. And so it at least was relevant. And it did at least give him some depth, kind of seeing where he came from. And I'm a little bit interested still to get the whole story with that other old pirate captain. Ingrat, yeah.
Yeah.
Ingrat,
Yeah.
Ingrat, something like that. But I'm interested
I
to get
can't.
more
I
there.
can't pronounce it.
Yeah,
You
they
said
Better than
Chalcat, and I said
Brad.
Chalice in my head.
Yeah, they kind of divulged a little bit more of his backstory, but I think that whatever happened to him definitely made, I don't want to say 100% made who he is, but really influenced the type of person that he is.
His mom freaked me out.
Who did?
His mother.
mom?
His mom. Why?
Just because she's got like the half tongue and like she lives as a pauper, marooned on an island by herself.
It is kind of
And-
weird.
It just was like, oh.
I mean, I don't know. He just put everybody on there and left them.
He's like, here's two people who are having a baby. They're gonna take care of you. Peace.
Mhm.
Stick him in the
This is your
basement.
island.
Well, he
Make sure
tried
to water
wear
and feed him
a
on a regular basis, but no sunlight.
It was a little weird. I did find that chapter, whatever, a little bit off, but hey. What about Brashan? Brashan had some good development in this book, I felt like.
I like to struggle
I
with
did
drug
like-
addiction.
Yeah.
The substance abuse issue.
Yeah. But then, like, everybody was, like, Althea was coming at him for it.
I didn't like that. Like, that's something people struggle with. Pointing it out all the time does not make it better. Like,
Yeah.
don't up. Don't, like, push him down.
Yeah, I wasn't a super big fan of Althea just kind of thumbing his nose at it.
Yeah, she really
I don't
did.
know. That's not a word. It's not a saying.
I don't know, I think a lot of it probably came from her dad too, because her dad was very much against it, and so she probably like took a lot of that in because she grew up on that ship, and how much her father just was so adamant that no one on his ship would use it, no one would come on board under the influence of it. So she probably just grew up really feeling very strongly about it. And I mean, yeah, she probably shouldn't be so petty about it and just like being very annoying and bugging him about it constantly. But I bet that's probably a lot of why it is a big deal to her.
She used it in the first book.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. She did.
Yeah, she was
But it
just kind of
wasn't-
mean to Brashan in general
She was.
for a lot of it, but
It
I feel
felt
like for
like
him, he
it
kinda got out
felt
of
like the
his
crush that you
self-pity.
bully because you don't know how to tell him you like him.
What do you mean? She's a grown-ass woman. Like, she should
I
know.
think she's only like 16 or 17.
She's
yeah,
that
she's early 20s.
young?
early
That's
20s.
She was like
That's
18.
18. We don't know how old she is. That's the consensus.
Apparently.
How come he was married with 2 kids and one of them is like their
Megan, come back.
This is a good time to Google how old is Althea.
I'm actually, she's 18.
She's 18. Okay.
Yep.
As of the
I just
beginning.
Googled, yeah.
So then she'd be 19 by Mad Chip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's mentioned that she's that age.
Okay, it just says if I recall correctly. I'm not accepting that as an answer.
Where, if I recall correctly, where? What?
The first result was somebody on Reddit. Like, I'm pretty sure she was 18.
I'm gonna ping Megan on Discord, see what she's.
I thought I was going to be the one having internet troubles.
You always have internet troubles. I'm still not convinced you didn't cause this.
At least we did get her paused on an interesting expression.
Oh, she dropped.
She'll come back.
She's left us. We're abandoned. We lost our host.
It's all gonna be chaos.
Anarchy.
All right, Andrew, we're taking over the stream.
Nope. I'm not going to be responsible for this. I absolutely 100% refuse. Oh, she dropped again. She,
Oh dang.
yeah, she heard mutiny, and then
Jeez.
let's get the hockey jersey out of frame. There we go. Oh, there she is. Yay!
That was so bizarre because you guys kept going in and out, and I was like, I'm back.
I can't wait for you to watch this back.
I could hear everything.
Nico tried to incite him.
No, there was nothing of the sort happened.
You're commandeering my show. Okay, I don't even know what we're talking. Althea's 18. Okay, consensus. Okay.
Yeah, fine. Okay.
So Jennifer says, I think Hobb could have gone a little deeper into the effects of the addiction, but people's reactions were realistic. I really liked how Brashan addressed that he was trying to get over it, and it was mentioned that he was struggling, like having the physical struggles of it. And when Althea was like, saying mean stuff to him, he was thinking in his head, well, I haven't had any in a day, and she was just being a jerk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I remember the one scene where he's like sitting there with the coins that the family has given him, going, "Can I afford it and still get the work done?" And he's like having those thoughts of like really just, well, maybe I can sneak it and still have enough money to get the job done.
Yeah, I thought he was going to. I'm really glad he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Really glad he didn't.
He's definitely a very different captain than I thought he was going to be. He's very gruff as captain, I think. But like as he gets vindicated for being a good captain aboard the Paragon, I really, really enjoyed that character development.
Mm-hmm.
Where like people specifically said, you did the right thing, you are a good captain, you are doing a good job. And it almost feels like I am finally living up to the potential that the one man who believed in me thought I could do.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree. I love seeing him as captain. It's almost like he was what he was born to do. And also because, he was disowned from his family. He really didn't have anything going for him. And now he actually has something that he can be proud of and good at.
Well, what I thought about him being disowned, what I thought was interesting is what's Malta's little friend's name? Delio, right?
Dello.
Dello doesn't hate Brashan. She just thinks her dad's a dick. Like, I mean, she's just like, the only reason we don't talk to Brashan is we don't want to get disowned ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, this just came to mind when the scene between Brashan and Malta when he came over to like.
And she flirted with him?
Yeah, what was that?
So weird.
That was the most uncomfortable thing ever.
I like when he was just like, "Oh, you're a sweet little girl." No.
He was like, I should go.
He's just like,
now.
I thought
what is
something.
this? This can't be really happening.
If they use Brashan in something, I'm gonna stop reading. Like,
Yep.
He's just like, no.
I did love his reaction to that, where he's like, just like, are you kidding me? Right? What is happening?
Like he
And
was fine the minute he realized
so uncomfortable.
I'm out.
He's just like, are you a child? Are you what? No. Bye.
Yeah, so weird.
It was uncomfortable.
I'll leave.
So, what do you guys think about like Althea and Brashan's romantic relationship and the direction that that's taking?
I think that's ultimately the direction it's going to lead into Ship of Destiny.
They'll probably captain it,
especially
ship
since
together.
they had that one kiss that went nowhere on Paragon, where like you shouldn't be kissing the captain. It was a throwaway line, and it's never brought up again.
Yeah. I really liked their romance in the first book, and then this one, it kind of took a turn. I want it to go back, or I either just want them to be really good friends.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they're always going to be good friends regardless of like what happens between them.
I had problems with the romance in the first one because of the way that it happened, and I did think it was interesting the way Hobb approached it in book 2. With the big focus, especially with Amber, talking about how, Althea taking responsibility for her part. And she was so mad that other people would see her as like just a victim when she did take part in it as well. And it wasn't like it was just him. But I'm also just like, I mean, I feel like they both should have known better because they're like on drugs and drinking, and Brashan seemed to be aware of the effects that the drugs would have. So like that was really uncomfortable, and I'm just like, that's not okay. But it was interesting seeing just the kind of approach, because that was another thing Althea was rebelling against, the idea that, you know, she's just a woman and couldn't possibly make the decision. It must have happened to her, not happened because she took part in it.
And well, that's what Brad thought about it. Like when they were talking about it, because he knew about it, and he's
That's
like,
what I was gonna say.
Brashan should have known better. Like,
Yeah, like he's the man. He's able to refrain.
Yeah.
I feel like Greg had a little bit of a point. I mean, not completely. Like, I agree. Althea can make her own choices. She's a big girl, and if she wants to, she wants to. But also, like a guy's not going to suffer the same consequences necessarily, you know, in their society. So, like,
wise and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, maybe she is willing to do that, but like him being willing to take that from her says something. I would say, like, I don't know.
But I mean, Althea doesn't go by conventional norms anyway, you know, so maybe he kind of took that into consideration too. Now,
Or he
Malta
been on a ship with only men for a
Nico,
year.
you okay?
I just had some coughing. I tried to mute myself.
So, sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. I did write some notes.
What kind of bugged me about this book is this is 900 pages, and we really, for a ship to be called a book to be called The Mad Ship, it took us 400 pages before we ever even got to that point.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a little on the ridiculous side.
But I mean, all her books are
Yeah,
she
it's just
spent a lot
Hobb.
of time on like developing the family and setting up the conflict. Like, you know, we actually have fighting between, how do you pronounce it? Chalcidians.
I call them Chalist for some reason. My brain, like,
Chalcid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no. My brain just picks the next closest word and just
Chalice.
Chalice.
I
The
think
Chalice states.
I kept calling them the Chalcold states, which I knew was wrong, but then seeing the whole world, it looks like Chalcadian or Chalcidian. So
Chalcidian.
I don't know. It's a weird word.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, it was just 400 pages before Paragon even starts his refit.
Yeah. It didn't bother me as much because I was enjoying getting there. But I feel like if I didn't enjoy her writing as much, it would have bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why Hobb can be hit or miss for people, because if the prose doesn't click with you, and then you're reading like a book like Ship of Magic, or even this one where like the first 200 pages, nothing's really happening, you're going to be like, why do people like this?
I mean,
But it just has to kind of work for you.
And it's not like your traditional fantasy. Like, there's no fighting, really. You know, you think of like...
Yeah, there's like one battle.
Yeah, you think of like fantasy with like these big epic battle scenes, and there's just not.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what she does is her books are just very character and relationship driven, because I feel like the beginning of this book really was trying to reestablish the relationship between the women of this Vestrit family as they're trying to like stay together, keep themselves afloat. Yeah. By the way, what do you guys think happened to Ronica at the end when she decided to stay behind? Do you think that she's okay, or do you think maybe there's something happened?
I think she'll end up being okay, but it was interesting that we don't know. And it's hard to overlook things like that with Hobb, because she usually does things very intentionally like that. But
I think she stayed in Bingtown.
What?
I think she stayed in Bingtown.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think she stayed there.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know. She's just such a strong character, you know.
Yeah,
I do like Ronica quite a lot.
Yeah, I feel like Hobb's gonna keep her because she is such a huge character.
What about the Satrap trying to like date Malta? Do you think anything's gonna come of that?
No.
No. I think his story at this point is pretty much done. I think
so.
he is. I think he's trapped in in the Rain Wilds and what was Sorella? I think Sorella, because she's got that signed document, is going to work with the Chalkid state and the nobles back in what's the name of that city?
Jamalia City.
Jamila.
Amelia.
That one.
I love that we all said it differently too.
Yeah.
No, the audiobook says Jamalia.
Yeah.
Jamalia.
My
Yes,
brain
I
just
think
looks
so.
at it, goes, "Okay, I know what that is," and moves on. I don't try to pronounce it. Like I was like, "That's the name of the Satrap city." Moving on.
I pronounce so many words, names,
But
things wrong.
the
for
nobles
years.
kind of pushed him out. They're like, "Oh yeah, you should totally go," even though like one
Totally
had.
go on this trip with your enemies. It'll be
We'll be
great.
Yeah, what could
fine.
possibly go wrong? Don't worry that nobody in your position has left the city in 3 generations. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, like when he was on the way on the journey and got sick on the ship, I thought he was gonna die, and I was like, well, that's the end of him. So I was like, I don't know.
I was expecting that too, and it was interesting that he was kept alive. But
I know.
he
I
did
think he's
serve
gonna
a
get the regal
purpose.
death. I think he's gonna get just like a really humiliating death.
I'm okay with that too.
Not opposed.
It's horrible.
Fine.
Like
All hail the assassin squirrel.
It was a ferret.
Okay, fine. Long squirrel, ferret.
so. Do you guys have any predictions for books 3 with regard to characters, plot, anything that you?
I think that Wintro is going to keep the Vivacia and Kenneth is going to die.
I hope Kenneth dies. A
Me
horrible
too.
death.
And I think that because it wouldn't make sense to me personally to make me read, let's see, in the UK editions, what we're talking 2,500 pages of having Wintro on Vivacia and then getting back to the end and then just giving it to Althea and him going back off to his monastery. Too much has happened to him. But being on the I think she is his ship at this point, and Althea is going to realize that when they reconnect.
And I feel like he has a really strong bond with Kenneth, especially kind of being his caretaker when he was sick and then helping heal him. And you can see that Kenneth's, I don't want to say caring for him, but like almost like caring for him. And then Edda's starting to care for him. So I kind of feel like he might become pirate, just like full out pirate. I don't know.
That's what I'm so interested in. It's Kenneth doesn't seem like the type of person to change, but I loved the interactions of the others around him. And he does come from, like, even though he's doing through manipulation, he is kind of in some ways trying to do what he thinks is best. And he does seem to at least somewhat deep down care for both Edda and Wintro, even if he kind of even can't admit it to himself. But so that'll be interesting. But I do think Althea and Brashan will end up together on their own ship, whether that be Paragon or something else. I'm so interested to see what the dragon and the sea serpents do. All right, book 1, I'm like, I don't really care about these sea serpents. Let's get back to the people. But book 2, I'm like, oh, this is really important.
No,
And so
it's obvious they're very angry.
Yeah.
Who, the serpents?
Yes.
Well, they're saying that they're coming towards, they're trying to get up the river. So there's like hordes of them trying to get up there. So I think that they're going to end up finding a way to get up there. And maybe there's another city above the Rainwild city, and they're going to be able to go up there and continue having dragons. And so that one won't be the last.
We already know what city that is.
The
But
possible city above the Rainwilds.
yeah, right.
there's definitely
No,
nothing there in the mountain.
yeah, no,
No.
that's not it. Oh, yeah, I was actually just getting ready to talk about that, Jennifer. Well, A, they're all dead. But B, I that felt shoot into me. It felt kind of forced in when they went back to see the others. There was really no reason for Kenneth to give a crap about Wintro's destiny.
Well, it affects him in a sense.
I mean, he already had him, though, at that point.
I feel like part of it was he wanted to somehow manipulate that into telling Wintro that he had to do what he wanted. Or maybe he's just so full of himself that he thinks the destiny will be what he wants to hear. But I'm wondering if we'll get more on that in book 3, because we had that one, like the prologue with the others, and then no mentions until toward the end, and finding out they had She Who Remembers. Like, there's a lot of important events that I feel like we'll hopefully get some explanation of, which maybe we won't, but I really want to know more.
Yeah, I really didn't like that entire chapter. Bothered me. It just felt super convenient. It felt like Robin Hood put in a plot point because she needed to take something off to make the rest of the story work. And so, in order to find She Who Remembers, Kenneth decides to go back to see the others, and he happens to find a cleft in a rock where he wasn't even supposed to be, to let her go, and then decides to let her go.
I don't remember, but did they say why the others? Well, first off, in the first book, I said that I didn't like how they were introduced in the beginning and then never addressed through the whole rest of the book. So, because I want to know more about them. They're freaking fish that walk around on land. And but like, did it say why they had She Who Remembers? Like,
she was like a deity or a god.
Yeah,
or
they
something.
thought she was their god.
okay.
I think that's how they were telling futures
Yeah,
and
their
fortunes.
oracle.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
they
I think
were like
as well.
using her power. But I'm wondering if maybe that there's some sort of like weird hybrid offshoot from the serpents, or like there's some like weird, watered down version of the Elderlings or something. There's just got to be something more important, because it was like I said at the beginning with the whole statues thing. That just seems so odd and out of place. But then later it's like, oh, so maybe we'll have to wait until the Rain Wilds Chronicles for it to make sense. But I'm
I
hoping
can't
it
wait.
does at some point.
That's a lot of books later.
Yeah, it's a
Hey,
while.
I'm down.
Like,
I'm down for the challenge.
But I feel like Robin, at least in the Farseer trilogy, I felt like the third book had a ton of reveals that were building up for the first 2 books. So maybe she'll do the same with this, where everything is finally explained.
I hope
That would be
so.
awesome.
I honestly just wasn't expecting She Who Remembers to like still be alive.
I thought it was the dragon.
I thought it was.
Well,
a
see,
dragon too.
I thought it was just going to end up being the dragon, but that was an actual another serpent. That's why I think that part didn't bother me, because I guess it kind of was convenient, but at the same time, like, I didn't realize that was going to happen. I was like, oh, like, no, there really is a serpent who's supposed to lead them to the dragon, but I was expecting the dragon to be the one who would meet them. Like that was what was happening with, like, oh, well, the dragons haven't been born, so they can't help the serpents. I didn't realize there was an actual other serpent. So,
Which, if I'm understanding correctly, the dragon lifestyle is like that of like an immortal jellyfish, where they like reach adulthood and then they revert back to a serpent. Because the serpents and the live ships were talking to each other, or I say talking, but like communicating, and they're like, "Oh, I remember you. You used to soar through the sky." But if you were in your cocoon stage or a serpent, then you haven't reached the sky yet. So how?
I think it's more like they share memories.
Yeah.
Or like they remember like past lives, kind of. I don't think it's like a full circle, just more of a, because like She Who Remembers specifically is in charge of the memories, and it sounds like the race used to share memories more, but they've kind of forgotten over the years, as generations wore on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
you want to talk about a recipe for going extinct? That the way they spawn is so overly complicated that I just thought that was insane.
Now I'm totally gonna look up the lifestyle.
100%. I know what I'm doing after the stream.
Yeah, no, we're all gonna be googling dragonflies.
Gonna be like, what the heck?
I know.
I'm glad Jennifer is here, because she's had a lot of really good insight to the books. So.
I know.
So, yeah, I feel like we're gonna get a lot more expansion on that, and She Who Remembers, and the memories, and the serpents, and the dragons, and how they all relate to each other. And I'm telling you, the Vestrits have something to do with it. I don't know what it is, but I think they have something to do with it.
I could definitely see that.
What do you guys think? Just one more thing about Amber sailing on the Paragon and buying the Paragon. Do you think she just did it because she knew that it had to happen, or do you think she's going to play more of a role, or any thoughts?
Well, she mentioned prophecy, and so I think it has something to do with, I can't remember the exact words, but the prophecies that were mentioned in Farseer. I think like the things there are still ongoing. Because she mentioned like something with like a slave boy and these other things happening. So I think she's still kind of going that route.
Listen,
I
all I
agree
know
with
is I'm in the wrong line of work. If she can afford to buy a live ship off of carving some wood into like baubles
They
and
were
necklaces,
really good beads.
really good beads. Like I'm talking just,
Maybe
I
she
need to
stole some
rethink my
gold.
life.
Robin Hobb made you change your life choices.
Yes.
Kind of a good writer. I don't know.
No, so there's always been an empathy to the fool, Amber, whatever you call her, him, her.
Yeah, we don't
It-
know.
I don't know.
Male or female.
The character's always had a lot of empathy and a lot of heart, especially if somebody that the character cares about is affected. And because I'm just going to say because she developed a relationship with Althea early on, even if it is due to prophecy, a relationship was developed. It may have truly been part prophecy and part just empathy.
Mhm.
Especially because she doesn't need money. She doesn't care.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I just feel like she's one of those characters that's just always going to be in the middle of things. Like, it doesn't matter. Kind of like Wit from Stormlight Archives or White.
Yeah.
He's kind of just like always going to be in the middle of things. It's kind of like a similar character.
Yes.
I agree.
I just want to read the whole realm of the Elderlings really bad.
I
Yeah.
Your
know.
TBR won't allow it.
And
Yeah.
know.
Mini.
normally I can't. I'm the worst at finishing series, but the Farseer trilogy and then this one, I've read them one after the other, and I'm not tired of it yet. It's been so
Mhm.
nice.
I've already
the Tawny
got
Man
Tawny Man.
trilogies.
Yeah, I have Tawny Man too. I haven't read it though. And
I've
I have
got you probably can't see it, but
Yeah,
Tawny Man,
with your
the Rain Wilds, and then the Fitz and the Fool. I just need the Piebald Prince, I think.
Yeah.
That's just a book of fables.
I'm still getting it.
well,
It's going on the shelf.
maybe I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm going to continue with Tawny Man. I want to now, but like,
Ever?
huh?
Ever?
No. I mean, like immediately.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
commitment.
You had me.
Okay. I was
A
like,
little-
what is wrong with you? No, it 100% is.
Just
I'm not
offended.
really sure.
I've heard
I'm not
such
sure when I'll
good things about
continue.
Tawny Man recently. Like, you're
I've heard a lot of good stuff about Tawny Man.
I know you're not the first person that said that. Now I'm like super excited.
Well, like everyone was just like, "Oh, Liveship Trader's the best," and then I read Liveship, and it was like, "Oh, Tawny Man's the best." I'm like, "You're gonna tell me that Rain Wild's the best next?" No, nobody like. Apparently, it doesn't top anybody's list.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
let's read all of these together, all 9 more books or whatever there is.
I think it's just they want you to keep reading for sure. Which, yeah, Jeremy wants us to keep reading too.
We will, but I have some books to deal with. Most of this is unread.
I feel the same. My bookshelves are crazy out of control.
I have an Excel spreadsheet. It's embarrassing.
I counted.
one
I
too.
have around 150 physical books that I own that are unread.
I
I'm
have
probably
more.
the same.
Mine is worse than that.
Mine too.
I
stopped counting. I don't want to know.
I personally don't have anything else to add for Mad Ship. I really liked it. I thought it was a step up from Ship of Magic. So I'm really excited to start the 3rd book. I'll probably start it. I don't know. I was thinking about starting Prince of Thorns tomorrow, but I might just jump into Ship of Destiny.
So, if you give ratings, what did you guys rate the book overall?
I give it a 5 out of 5. Well, not a full 5 out of 5, but it was probably like a 4.6. Yeah, it was a mid 4 to higher 4.5.
Yeah.
Out of 5.
Same.
I think I rounded up to 5 though.
Yeah, that's what I did.
It's
because Goodreads is such a good system.
I think I did mine a 4 because I feel like I'm becoming more strict with my 5-star reads, and the 5-star reads really have to like jerk me emotionally in like some way. And while I thought this was a brilliant book, like there was just something emotionally that didn't just reaching, but that doesn't like discount how amazing it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where, and I have loved these books, but I have not like been hit as hard or related as hard as I did with Farseer.
Oh,
Farseer destroyed me.
yeah.
I mean, those books.
I don't
and
want
that's-
that again.
Well, books 2 and 3, I could not help but rate 5 stars for Farseer, and then 1 and 2 of Liveship, I've been 4, and I liked Madship more, so I'm like, should I give it a 5? But it just didn't like it was really really good. I really enjoyed it, but I just didn't like have that like extra something I needed for a 5 star.
I'm the same with you.
Does Jennifer have any questions that we didn't cover since she's our most adamant commenter?
Anyone else? Questions, comments, concerns? Doesn't have to be about this, just in general. That's what I do with my students. I'm like, questions, comments, concerns. Okay, bye.
Right. Wrap it up.
All right, guys. Well, I don't have anything else. We'll be doing another live show for Ship of Destiny. So just stay tuned for the date and time for that.
Another 900 pages.
This was fun. What'd you
But
say?
we'll get answers.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I think I'm gonna start it tomorrow. I think I'm just gonna start it tomorrow.
I'm gonna save it for the end of the month because my TBR is already destroyed.
Well, I have a feeling
Yeah,
if I
mine too.
start it and I wait, I'm gonna like have to force read it like I did this one. Not force read it, but like, yeah. Anyway.
I'm doing middle. I gotta finish Ruin of Kings, then read Moving Pictures, and then I'm doing it, I think.
I've got to read 4 books, 3 books before I can start Ship of Destiny. So
Also,
I'll
guys-
probably be reading it in June.
Jennifer says that we will have another emotional roller coaster in the Tawny Man trilogy.
Oh no! Well, it's back to Fitz, of course. Poor man can't catch a break.
And like
I
their
know.
relationship is like just my favorite. I love Fitz and the Fool and their
They're
relationship.
so cute.
Yeah. Okay, you guys. Well, thank you guys for watching and joining us. And stay tuned for our next live show. And y'all have an amazing night.
Okay.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye.